us, how did you manage to raise the money? Because you realized you had the knowledge and the land and a starting point, but you had no money. So the first question is, how did you raise the money? And then number two, does it necessarily mean everyone wants to get into farming, they have to go to a college or university? What's your take on that?
Okay, I'll start with the second question.
Yeah.
You need to have some form of knowledge. I don't want to lie to you. Farming, the very successful farmers have either been to Gwebi or Black 4B in this country. So you need to have some form of knowledge of what you're doing. Just like any other field, you need to, because there's a science to farming, and that science comes with you getting some of education. So even if you these 3-day courses that people do, I'll give you an example. I just recently went to a sheep training course, looking after your sheep. How do you do your farming? So it was only 3 days, but I learned a lot. So there has to be some form of education. You need to empower yourself that way. So you need to empower your mind. But also, how do you start without capital? You start off small without capital. You need to have at least the basic to be able to buy, to have your fuel. You need to be able to till your land. So whether you're going to use cattle or you're going to be on your homestead, like ama homesteads ekayalana, my homesteads ekumusha. You need to have those. So if somebody can give you 6 hectares, because Zimbabwe, that's the good thing. You're given 6 hectares. Everyone, ekaya, is given 6 hectares. So you can start off on that piece of land that does not cost you anything. And we've seen it over. There's so many YouTube videos of people that are doing something on their homestead. So you start off there. I was fortunate in that I had an uncle that had land. So he's the one who had given me this 500-hectare farm. And he had said, come, but obviously he hadn't developed the land. And then I left that place because I thought, I can't stay here. I asked him, can I go somewhere else where I can start immediately? Because it was during the rainy season. So I left that place. He had a friend of his. And I'm telling you, because this is the story all around Zimbabwe right now, at least in the Midlands, I see a lot of that's vacant. And I keep thinking, I wish somebody who was passionate about farming could just come, approach this family and say, can I do something on this land? Can we go into a joint venture? That's what it's called here in Zimbabwe. It's not called renting the land, but it's called a joint venture because there are people that got this land, especially after the land reform in 2000, that don't have the resources. Some of them don't have the knowledge, and some of them live in town. So there's a lot of land. You drive around, you see pieces of land that used to be farms that were productive, but now they are farms that are sitting because people don't have the finances. The economic situation in Zimbabwe is very difficult. So you find that a lot of these families, that generation where maybe their father was the one who was initially given land, he's now died, and then the children have taken over. And maybe none of the children is passionate about farming. So the story is very mixed. So you approach those families and say, can I come and do something on this piece of land? So I obviously had this uncle of mine. He had 500 hectares. He had a big dam, but there was no structures, no infrastructure. So we went to his friend. He gave me a piece of land, about 100 hectares.